What's up, Marvel Snappers, and welcome to another Deck Tech video. Today, we're going to be moving away from the free-to-play account, and I actually wanted to showcase the deck that I used to get to Infinite on my beta account. Now, this account is collection level 2500, so it's not quite a complete collection, but I do have most of the cards. In the deck is a budget replacement, since I'm missing a card that I would have liked to include in the deck. The deck featured around Sera, who has the ongoing effect, cards in your hand cost one less. What this lets you do is hold a good amount of cards for the final turn and make a big push after you've already seen what your opponent's strategy is and where they've committed their power. Some of the big enablers for this are high power, low cost cards like Mysterio, who only would cost one on the final turn. Same with Lizard. You'll have 5 power for 1 energy, and you're able to push so much power on the board as a result. And one of the cards that really enables Lizard to work well is the tech Aero, who can move all enemy cards this turn to the location Aero was played to. And when you have Sera, Aero only costs 4, which actually gives you some extra energy to work with. And one of the things you can combine this with is Kingpin, who's typically a tricky card to use, because when a card moves here on turn 6, destroy it. When you play the Kingpin down ahead of time, the opponent knows that's where they need to play their cards on turn 6 to avoid the destruction effect. But in this deck, you're actually able to play Kingpin and Aero together on the final turn. One of the things you can also do with Kingpin is play it out early, baiting the opponent into playing their cards to Kingpin's location on that turn, but you fully intending to pull them to a different location with the Aero. Rounding out the deck, we have Nova, who when destroyed gives all of the cards on the board +1 power. This synergizes with our Mysterio, who puts a bunch of bodies into play, and because we can flood the board with a ton of cards, Nova ends up being a very big power buff. To destroy the Nova, we have Carnage, who also synergizes with Mysterio, because Carnage can eat the illusion. Carnage can also clean up the board of squirrels or raptors or things your opponent has given you, like rocks or hoods, or even green goblins, because one of the things that can make this deck slow down is removing the amount of spaces you have on the board. We don't have individually high power cards, we have a bunch of good power, low cost cards that we need board space to play. Complementing that is also Killmonger, who can destroy the Nova, and also destroy a lot of the opponent's 1-cost cards like Deadpools or Demons or Sunspots, and can also clear out a 1-drop that your opponent played into the location that your Lizard is to make sure that they don't have 4 cards there to remove the 3 power on the Lizard. We also have Angela and Bishop, who are just great cards if you're flooding the board, and they both synergize with the Mysterio as well, so we have quite a lot of Mysterio interactions in this deck. And the last few spots are Scarlet Witch, who on reveal replaces the location with a new one. With Sera, this is only 1 energy and can be used on the final turn to make some really sneaky plays by changing a Death's Domain or a bar with no name and getting the win in that location by surprise. It also lets you deal with troublesome locations, such as Bar Sinister, which we don't have a high power card to duplicate there, or Dream Dimension, which is the location I hate the most with this deck, because it makes cards cost 1 more on turn 5, causing our 5-cost Sera to be 6-cost, and then you're unable to get the Sera into play. And lastly, we have Swordmaster, who's 6 power for 3 energy, just to be a stat stick. If I had Maximus, I would be playing it instead, because Maximus is 7 power. They both have on-reveal effects that we don't want to trigger, but neither has an impact on us when you're on turn 6, whether you're discarding a card or forcing the opponent to draw 2 cards. If it's the final turn of the game, neither of these effects matter anymore. With that, let's hop into some games. Alright, first up is Kunlun. We don't have anything that moves, so that doesn't matter too much for us. Let's hold the Nova for now. We'll be able to slot that into a future turn. When they go with Ant-Man, which is good for our Killmonger. Oh, and we lose our Mysterio. That's rather unfortunate. But we do have Sera, so I'm comfortable just passing here. They play a Lizard. Carnage doesn't really do much for us either. Let's see, we have 2, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 energy worth of cards. And 2 ongoing cards. I'm concerned about a potential armor. We can pass on this turn as well. Okay, and they Captain America. The opponent snaps. But we can Scarlet Witch the Carnage. Okay, and they go with a Colossus. I wish it was going to stay Avengers Compound, but it triggers twice. Okay, and we get Monster Island. So let's go with Sera here. That protects us from a Professor X, unless they choose to Professor X this location. But there's not too much we can do about that. And they Iron Man. Okay, so they're winning Monster Island pretty handily. Which means, what's their play? Spectrum. So what can we get going here? We can Carnage, Lizard, Swordmaster, Killmonger. This will give us 16 here. They'll go up to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. We'll end up taking 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 away from them. This should be enough. I'm gonna count on the Sera getting, or the Spectrum being played to Kunlun. Let's risk the 4 cubes, see if we get the read right. Oh no, they go with a Mr. Fantastic. That's also not enough. I don't know what else was in their hand for that to be the play, but we take our 4 cubes. And this just shows the power of Sera, being able to put 16 power with 4 different cards into play in a single turn and disrupt the opponent's side of the board. Let's hop into another one. Alright, first location is Limbo, which makes the Kingpin combo less explosive. But we'll be able to take good advantage of the 7th turn if we get Sera into play. A Iceman hitting the Kingpin. Ooh, and Bar Sinister makes a return. Let's get Angela down to Limbo. Okay, and they go with the neuter our whole hand strategy with the 4 Scorpions. But that gives us an easy power to beat, since we're going to draw 5 additional cards. Now, most of our cards are useless. But we'll be able to pop them with Carnage. So let's play the Bishop for now. They Korg to give us a rock. When ongoing effects will be duplicated. Okay, we have Nova into Carnage, which we can play into Bar Sinister. So let's get the Killmonger down. It's -1 for now, but it's a body we can take advantage of. And we want to Nova into Carnage. We'll get 3 Novas, and then the Carnages will duplicate. Let's actually snap here, because we're going to take some power away from them as well. And we have Aero. Oh, and the opponent just retreats. We had -3 and 1 power on the board, and the opponent retreated. Would have been nice to play that one out, but I'll take it. Let's hop into another one. Alright, first location is Jotunheim, which is pretty bad for our Mysterio, but we do have Angela Bishop. And the Bifrost, making things extra messy. Let's go with the Angela. And they also play an Angela. And if we Bishop here, the Angela just gets shifted in, and we don't want to be losing 1 power a turn. So let's just Bishop the Angela lane. This gives us a lot of power for the Icebox, and we just have to figure out how best to win 1 more. Ooh, and they Green Goblin us, which is pretty rude. We can go with a Killmonger for now. We don't have a way to kill the negative Mysterio token, but maybe that's okay. Maybe we just fight over the Bifrost, because this puts a lot more power onto Bishop. And what won't get moved? The real Mysterio, because we'll have a clone here. Alright, yeah, let's actually go with the Killmonger. It's not looking too great for us. But we can get 3 more power onto our Bishop. They probably play something there. Maybe they play a couple things. Maybe actually the play is to Aero this turn. Oh, they're revealing first. Okay, let's stick with the Lizard Mysterio. This is pretty weak. No one's snapped yet. Oh. Okay, and they get us with the Professor X, but now we're revealing first. And we're tied here, but we'll give Bishop 1 more power when we play Aero. So let's pull whatever they were going to play to the Bifrost. And that should be enough, because we're going to have 18 power here. If they snap, they retreat, but this here shows the power of Aero. Nope. Over here. An Aero of their own. Not enough. And we managed to take that really awkward game. By 1 point in the icebox, thanks to Bishop. Let's hop into another one. Alright, first location is Bar Sinister, which is actually pretty awkward for us. We don't have a big thing to duplicate here. We can hope to draw the Nova and give our board a huge buff. Also kind of locks us out of Mysterio for right now. Ooh, and Starlight Citadel is going to make things awkward, because it's going to move this Bar Sinister. But we'll go with the Angela for now. Okay, our opponent plays a Collector. Yeah, I don't want just 10 power here of Mysterios. For now, let's get the Kingpin down, buff up our Angela, give us some power. We're gonna hope Bar Sinister replaces Hellfire Club. The opponent might end up splitting their cards. There's always the opportunity to make 4 Seras, and then, ooh, but the Hellfire Club will prevent us from playing 1-cost cards, so that will actually backfire. Ooh, Maximus gives us 2 extra cards to work with here. Well, we can turn Bar Sinister off. Okay, that's going to be our play. And then we can put the real Mysterio here too, get a good amount of power going. The opponent duplicates Moon Girls, which isn't going to actually do anything for their Collector because their hand is full. Alright, and their Moon Girls aren't going to get the Stark Tower buff anymore. We do want to make sure we win this location. We have 8 there right now. So we kind of need to play the Sera here, even though it would be nice to get the Stark Tower buff. Alright, and the opponent goes with a Devil Dinosaur.
All systems go.
Okay. So they're going to want to play here to play around the Kingpin. We're at 13 here. We're at 9 here. I don't think we're going to be able to pull this one off. We're just a little short for power. It's unfortunate that they actually went with this Moon Girl play, because I put a lot of power there for not a lot of energy investment. Yeah, we're just going to end up being too short. There's always the opportunity here to snap and see if they retreat. Yep. That's a powerful thing you can do with Sera, and when you have a decent board presence, is they're pretty scared of what you can do. So even though I don't think we had a win condition, we get our 1 cube. Let's hop into another one. Alright, first up is Xandar. Could be a good location for Angela, since we'll want to put a lot of cards there anyways. Now we have Cloning Vats, which I don't think we can take fantastic advantage of. Although if we clone the Angela, we have the Sera now, so we'll actually be able to put quite a lot of cards on the board. We might not go the Arrow route this game. Ooh, they're cloning Bucky, which It's a little higher impact than our Angela here. But we can play the other Angela to Xandar. Yeah, and they get to duplicate a Nova. And we have Carnage. So we'd actually be able to duplicate that with cloning vats. Let's do that. Let's play the Mysterio. Get 7 power here. We'll put a clone here. End up getting a 6 power Carnage that'll come back to our hand. And then we can probably use it in Warrior Falls to get up ahead of the Winter Soldier. Okay, they also play a Mysterio. Okay, and they have another Nova. If we can have priority going into this turn... Okay, so what we're actually going to want to do here is... Let's go with Nova Killmonger. Let's pop their Novas before they can get a ton of value out of them, and we'll get a pretty good buff from Nova. And we'll have another Nova and another Killmonger, plus we have this 6 power Carnage we can use. Because if the Nova buffs go on the Bucky, they don't go on the Winter Soldier. Only one card's been destroyed before, but we'll be destroying quite a few more here, so we have to anticipate the death next turn. Yeah, there's the death. So we can put 6 here. And that brings us up over them. But then we can go Nova Carnage here. We'll get up to a 10 power Nova. They'll have 12 plus 6. We win Xandar. Let's just lock this one in. It's not for a lot of cubes. And they Killmonger, but that's not going to be enough. And we get the Nova Carnage to buff up our cloning vat lane. Is this the real Mysterio? Are we just going to be 2 short or 3 short? Or 2, it will be 2, because this would go up to 22. Oh, this was the real Mysterio. Whew! And we pull that one off. That was close. We actually ended up being able to take good advantage of the cloning vats and turned off their Novas at an appropriate time so they didn't get too much of a buff on their board, and managed to beat out 2 deaths. Let's go. I hope you enjoyed the games and got to see the power of Sera. This deck is a lot of fun to use and has some pretty complicated turns, but when played properly can net you a lot of cubes. Going forward, I'm going to try and do a bit more content using this account, just to show off what some near completed decks look like, but I'll continue doing Intro to Pool 3, where we use one Pool 3 card and build the rest of the deck out of Pool 1 and Pool 2 cards, so there's content for newer players. As always, if you have any questions or feedback for me, make sure to leave those in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.